Guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren, and welcome back to Outside View Scandals. I'm your host, and if you're joining us from Germany, although it's the English language channel, I hope you enjoyed your New Year's Eve. I personally spent mine the German way, standing in a field of smoke, wondering if that €200 firework I just lit was a Böller or a small tactical nuclear device, while my neighbor yelled at me about Ruhestörung at 12:01 a.m. Well, it's officially January 2026, a new year, a new chance for humanity to do better, and judging by the last 7 days, another week of us failing spectacularly at it. We have a world on fire, a chancellor who's essentially a human Excel spreadsheet, and a former US president who has turned the Caribbean into his personal game of battleship. So pour yourself a glass of whatever survived the holidays, and let's dive into the wreckage of the last 7 days. And let's start right here in Germany. Our Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, has been in office for about 8 months now. In that time, he has managed to achieve the impossible. He has made us miss the charisma of Olaf Scholz. Think about that. We miss the man who had the emotional range of a damp washcloth. And this week, Merz is under fire for his 2026 budget. You might remember Friedrich as the guard of the Schuldenbremse, the debt brake. He used to talk about the debt brake like it was a sacred relic. But now he's discovered the magic of special funds. His government is using a €500 billion infrastructure and climate transformation fund. It's basically a massive credit card that he's hidden from the official balance sheet. And it's like a guy who tells his wife they are broke and can't afford bread, while secretly buying a private jet with a loan he took out in the dog's name. And the opposition is screaming. The AfD is claiming the money is being used to build luxury hotels for migrants, and the Greens are upset because Merz is using the climate fund to build autobahns and subsidize coal-fired saunas. And meanwhile, Merz just stands there, looking like he's about to lecture you on why your 401k is underperforming. And don't get me even started on the new military service law that kicked in on January 1st. So if you were born in 2008, congratulations. You just got a very special New Year's gift. A mandatory questionnaire from the Bundeswehr asking if you'd like to see the world from the inside of a Leopard tank. It's not conscription, the government says. It's an invitation to a long-term outdoor adventure with heavy machinery. And meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the Trump administration is celebrating its first year by turning foreign policy into a reality TV show. And this week's scandal? Venezuela, of course. Trump has moved the Navy into the Caribbean to stop the flow of drugs. And in reality, he's basically live streaming himself sinking speedboats. And it's the most expensive episode of Deadliest Catch ever filmed. And let's not talk about what happened to Maduro. But let's talk about his best friend Elon Musk. Remember last year's inauguration when Elon supposedly made a suspicious hand gesture? Well, this week the fallout continues. Elon is currently feuding with the entire state of Minnesota. And why? Because a YouTuber, yes, a YouTuber, posted a video alleging a $9 billion fraud scheme in Minnesota. Elon retweeted it. Trump saw it. And now the federal government has paused all childcare funding for the state, because that's how they govern in 2026, based on what a guy with a ring light and a TikTok account says. Minnesota's governor, he's furious, and Trump is calling the state a laundromat for fraudulent money. And Elon is probably on Mars or his couch, tweeting that Minnesota should be replaced by a private city-state called Excellent, where the only currency is Dogecoin and the only law is free speech, meaning you can't criticize Elon. And it wouldn't be a week of scandals without our celebrities and royals acting like they're in a Shakespearean play directed by Michael Bay. On December 23rd, someone stole $102 million worth of jewels from the Louvre. And last week, the museum responded by installing bars on the windows. Brilliant. It only took them a century and a 9-figure theft to realize that windows are, in fact, holes in the wall. And a member of the Norwegian royal family is currently facing trial for sexual assault. It's a grim reminder that blue blood is just a fancy way of saying, I'm probably going to need a very expensive lawyer. And the year of legal reckoning continues. Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively are still suing each other into oblivion. It started as a feud over a movie called It Ends With Us, and it has ended with a $400 million lawsuit. At this point, the legal fees are higher than the movie's box office. And George and Amal Clooney were officially granted French citizenship this week. The French government says it's because of their cultural influence. I think it's because the French just wanted someone in the country who can wear a scarf without looking like an existentialist philosopher having a midlife crisis. But back to Germany for a second. As of January 1st, the minimum wage increased to 13 euros and 90 cents. The government is celebrating this as a huge win for the working class. But let's do the math. The price of doner has gone up to 10 euros. Rent in Munich is now roughly the price of a small Caribbean island. And the Gasspeicherumlage, that's the gas storage surcharge, was scrapped. But energy prices are still higher than Friedrich Merz's ego. So you can get an extra euro an hour, but you need that euro just to pay for the plastic bag at Rewe. It's not a wage hike, it's a slow-motion subsistence strategy. And then there's the Aktivrente. The government's new plan to let pensioners work without paying taxes on the first 2,000 euros. And it's a beautiful idea. Work until you're 95 and we'll let you keep enough money to buy your own coffin. And finally, some tech news. Apple has officially scaled back production of the Vision Pro. Turns out people don't actually want to pay $4,000 to look like a cyberpunk deep-sea diver while sitting in their living room. People realized that if they wanted to feel isolated and see things that aren't there, they could just go to a political rally, and that for free. The dream of the metaverse is dying, but don't worry, AI is here to take its place. And this week, a new AI was released that can predict your political leanings based on your fridge contents. Apparently, if you have oat milk and artisanal mustard, you are a green voter. If you have nothing but beer and a half-eaten currywurst, you're the target demographic for Friedrich Merz's next PowerPoint presentation. So what have we learned this week? We've learned that the Schuldenbremse is more of a Schulden suggestion. We've learned that Donald Trump views the Caribbean as his personal bathtub. And we've learned that in 2026, Bielefeld still exists barely, and the world is still obsessed with throwing small pointed sticks at a board in London while drinking heavy lager. It's going to be a long year, folks, but don't worry, as long as the politicians keep lying and the celebrities keep suing, I'll have a job. I'm your host for Outside View Scandals. Stay cynical, stay caffeinated, and for the love of God, don't let Friedrich Merz manage your personal finances. Good night.